Oh, and the plot continues to thicken.
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal.
What's up? Yes, guys, as I've said before, and I'm going to say it again on this particular case, with this whole Charlie Kirk situation, it is just getting thicker than a snicker. It is continually having more and more left turns, more and more bombshells, more and more conspiracy theories getting thrown out here. And it's been wild, and we are all here to find out what's going on. And I know a lot of y'all are here for it. Some of y'all will say, yeah, I'm here for it all day long. And some of y'all will be like, yeah, this is nuck and futz and things need to get figured out. And all y'all losing your damn minds. What happened here is what Tyler did. He did what he did. And this has to do with some sort of crazy leftist extremist regime that went and did what they did to take out Charlie Kirk. Well, here's the thing. I think a lot of people are still asking those questions. Is it some sort of extreme leftist group that did this? Or is it a higher entity, an outside force, foreign, or maybe domestic, that paid or incentivized someone of the likes of Tyler Robinson to actually pull the trigger on Charlie Kirk? Shoot, is Tyler Robinson actually the one who pulled the trigger? Could it be somebody else? Could it been Lance Twiggs? I mean, there's so many questions, right? But one thing that I talked to you guys about before, now we're hearing from Candace Owens. Yes, we're talking about Candace Owens again, because she is asking something that I was asking before too, but now she has more insight and more insider information about some things that I think are questionable. We should be asking these questions for sure. But this time, what she's talking about has to do with Turning Point USA. What I was talking about before was how UVU had a questionnaire when they were, setting things up for this Turning Point USA event for Charlie Kirk way back in July, right? And apparently there was something on the questionnaire that's always supposed to be on there. It's mandatory, basically asking if you need some outside, if outside security is needed. Do police need to be there, etc., right? And apparently what is being alleged by local media, they're saying that question was not actually on the questionnaire, or it was redacted, taken out of the questionnaire when they received that information. So of course they're reaching out to UVU, basically saying, hey, there's a question on here that is not being seen here. It's mandatory. Why don't you have it here? And of course, they said, we can't give you that information. They gave some BS excuse. In my personal opinion, to me, it sounds like a BS excuse. They were saying, oh, yeah, well, we don't want to interfere with the investigation, interfere with this trial, etc., right? But it's still weird, right? When you hear that kind of information, it's like, wait, why won't you just let that piece out there? Is it a clerical error? Did you guys make a mistake? Did Turning Point USA make that decision themselves, right? And say, no, we don't need extra security. We fine, right? Which is still strange because Charlie Kirk is such a big name and all that. And it doesn't matter. I mean, if it's Matt Damon or Ben Affleck or Denzel Washington or Tom Cruise, you'd think that they would have, or, Al Sharpton. I mean, I'm just naming anybody who has a big name, right? You'd think that they would have mandatory security on campus on that particular event, no matter what. Doesn't matter if they check the box or not. They have to have that there. These are high profile names. This is not just regular Joe Blow, even though I'm not sitting here saying that a Joe Blow's life is not as valuable as these high profile individuals. They need protection as well, right? I'm not saying that, but all I'm saying is it's not like it's just some random guy showing up to an event, showing up to the space to see the place. You see what I'm saying? This is a high profile individual where people would definitely a polarizing individual, and that he would have a target on his back, okay? Or their back. If it happens to be like, I don't know, Meryl Streep or Lauren Boebert or you know what I'm saying? Or Candace Owens herself doing a speaking engagement, you would expect that there would be mandatory outside security that is facilitated by the actual university or the event space, just as extra security, just in case. Not just the likes of TPUSA having their own security, that they would actually have another set of security provided by the event space to just make sure that there is really security in that area, right? Now that you've heard all that, okay? Now that you've heard all that information, Candace Owens, Candace Owens keeps on coming in with all this crazy bombshells and all that. And I'm telling you right now it's starting to sail down in a direction that I didn't really expect it to go down. And there's going to be a conversation, I have a feeling, in the very near future that we might be having that I did not want to have have that conversation with y'all about. But it looks like it's going to be that situation. It looks like we're going down that route here soon. But nonetheless, she is alleging that back in July, and then some, all the way leading up to the actual event, UVU, the university, the place where this event was taken, turned to TPUSA, Turning Point USA, and said, hey, guys, I think it might be best if you guys do it inside. Don't do it outdoors. Do it inside. Just for safety reasons. And guess what? She's alleging that Turning Point USA turned that down. Now, if that is absolutely true, if that's absolutely 110% real, wow. Turning Point USA might have some explaining to do. Now, let me just say this before we go into all this. And I'm sure I'm going to say this during us watching this video clip. Turning Point USA may have just said that because they wanted to be outside. It could have just been an innocent thing. Also, let's not forget, unless we're going to be listening to this clip, you never know. Charlie Kirk could have been the one saying, no, let's do it outside. It allows us more room, blah, blah, blah. I like being outside. You never know, right? But nonetheless, it is still questionable about how UVU said, yeah, why don't you guys do it inside? It'll keep things more secure, blah, blah, blah. And Turning Point USA turned that suggestion down. So now you have a questionnaire where UVU asked TPUSA while they were setting things up, getting things ready for this event before Charlie Kirk's demise. They asked him, do you need extra security? Do you need us to provide extra security? They're holding that information from the public. They checked either that box yes or no. Either way, pretty insane. To me, like I've already told you, it should be mandatory. They should have already had that out here. But now they're saying that UVU turned to TPUSA and said, hey, man, how about you guys stay inside? Let's make this a contained, controlled environment, not out here outside. And apparently TPUSA turned that down. Let's take a look at this video. This is absolutely insane.
So going back to our timeline, I will remind you, it was July 18th. According to the local Utah News, they found this out. It was July 18th that UVU Turning Point chapter requested to have Charlie speak. That is very late in the day for a request. They're usually backed up entire semesters. Well, guess how quickly Turning Point headquarters not only approved it, but then sent people to campus to begin scouting a location almost immediately. In early August, within 2 weeks, they had boots on the ground and they were scouting for a location, and it gets worse, okay? I learned that after UVU showed them multiple options, inside and outside, UVU recommended to Turning Point that they not hold the event in the amphitheater because of safety reasons. Not a good idea because we can't shut this area down. It's not a good idea because there's no control here. We cannot control the traffic, the flow of traffic coming in and out of this amphitheater.
So they can't control the actual traffic going in and out of the area, which obviously I can understand that would spark up a lot of concerns in my personal opinion, right? But allegedly they turned that down. And of course, we already know what had happened, but that's very interesting that UVU said, no, let's make this more controlled. Let's do inside. Let's not go outside, because outside we can't control the elements and all that. If we have a skeleton security crew out there, they can't really comb everywhere. We need more manpower, and we don't have that at our disposal. Maybe same thing with TPUSA. Again, these are a lot of questions about safety protocol or security protocol. And did they have enough? Could they have done that, right? Could they have been able to successfully cover everything? And what we've heard is that no, they haven't really been able to cover everything, right? That's why what happened, right?
But Turning Point insisted that that was where they wanted to have the event. It was because Turning Point insisted that that event was then held outside. Now, I can tell you, having done these events, that was the first thing among many that struck me as odd, is anybody can just walk into that's the whole point of safety, is you want to make sure at these students, you're checking tickets, you have security looking at them up and down. Do they look weird? Who are we supposed to keep eyes on? This guy's weird. Let's watch this guy because he's mumbling to himself. The whole point of that, the reason why you feel safe going to a Turning Point event, is because not everybody can just walk up and sit down when they want to. Okay.
I mean, but that's the whole thing, I think, that Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk, maybe they wanted to get the message out there, right? The fact that it would be outside, it gets more access to more people going, hey, what's going on? There's an event over here. What's going on? Let me check it out. And maybe in their minds, obviously I'm not part of TPUSA or anything of that sort, but I would assume that in his mind, or in TPUSA's mind, they're thinking that by being outside, it can spread the word more. More people would be more savvy to showing up or know about this event by being like, oh, wow, there's an event. Oh, wow, what's going on over there? And just, doing a listening ear from afar and be like, oh, wow, I kind of like Charlie Kirk or whatever, right? I'm going to pick up a Bible now or whatever the hell it is. You know what I mean? Like maybe in their minds, they thought that would be the best way to do it, being outside in front of people, because it gets access to people that may not know that the event was even going on, right? But I get her side-eyeing this situation and asking questions for show. Okay,
you want to look people in the eye. Suddenly, that didn't matter to them. Turning Point insisted on having the event outside, despite UVU saying they communicated to them, they did not think the outside was the best idea because of safety reasons. So my question now is, which specific Turning Point employees went down and picked that venue outside? I want to know. In fact, I need to know, and I will know, who were the Turning Point employees that were the boots on the ground that scouted that event and that location and insisted on the outside. The reason they gave them that they insisted on it was because they liked the place outside where Charlie could pull up, where the vehicles would be able to pull up. Makes no sense. I have gone through an unbelievable amount of kitchens. Doesn't matter where you pull onto the event to speak at a college campus. You're always walking through a kitchen somewhere on campus. So the idea they liked where they could park their cars, it's not tracking for me.
Now, here's the thing. I'm going to say this too. Now, this is going to sound crazy. Maybe it's going to be out of left field here, but just ride with me for a second. Maybe Charlie Kirk was looking at what he was doing, like, what would Jesus do, right? WWJD. What would Jesus do? Back in the day, Jesus went out into the streets. Well, outside his church, his way of telling people, converting people, getting to the masses was being outside to the general public, not in enclosed areas, right? And one way of getting people to know who you are is by doing more public types of events like this, right? Where he's outside. He's able to talk to the people that are there to support him, the followers and listeners of his, but then in the fans, but then also at the same time, like I said earlier, maybe they were thinking like, we're going to do it like Jesus did. We're going to be outside and we're going to get more people to get hip to the Turning Point USA movement, right? Because like I said, it could be those random stragglers that are just walking down the street, right? That one person, that two people, a group of 30 people that are just walking in the area, right? Walking in and out from classrooms or whatever and being like, what's going on over here? And just taking a listen and going, wow, I like Charlie Kirk. You see what I'm saying? Just like what I said earlier, maybe he's thinking that by being outside, it gives him more opportunity to access the new listener and that new person that didn't even know he even existed. That could be one of the reasons. That very well could be one of the reasons. It could be something sinister too, but I don't know. I feel like it's fair to ask the questions. I feel like it's fair what Candace Owens is asking, but at the same time, I've always been saying this, right? You know, once you get into the suspicious mindset, okay, you can look at everything and start asking 15 million different questions. Everything is suspicious at that point. Everything is like, why is that spoon there? Is that spoon there for something sinister, right? Why did he hold the microphone in his hand, in his right hand in that way? Does that mean something sinister? You know what I mean? There's been so many theories that have been just flying out the gate since Charlie Kirk lost his life that I'm not surprised that things have gone to where it's gotten super anal retentive, right? Super anal about all this stuff, right? So again, when I see this, I go, okay, I get it. I can understand you asking that question, but it could be just very simple. It could be very simple and very innocent. That maybe he just wanted to be outside to do the event and get opportunities to get more people to show up. Think about this here too. It's backing what I just said a second ago, but think about this too. Do you really think, I really think he still would have had a great turnout inside if he did the event inside. But here's the thing. I don't think it would have been as massive if he did the event inside. Remember, there's going to be a lot of people that do know that he's going to be there, right? So they'll show up. But like I said, the fact that it's outside, there are going to be more people that are going to be interested in tuning in or walking over, right? As they're going between classes or God knows what. They're going to show up because they're interested in hearing what he's got to say or what's this event all about that don't even know anything. So like I said, this is access. This is easy, free access to more people, to more, minds that he can influence, right? Possibly convert, whatever, right? So again, this could be sinister. This could be completely innocent. But what are your thoughts on this, guys? Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Because again, like I said, it just seems, he does a lot of events outside. He does. Why is this one? Why is the decision to go outside more now, this one in this particular situation? Why is this one more sinister than any other event that he's done outside? Just think about that. You see what I'm saying? He does a lot of events outside. So again, like I said, this could be this to me seems like a nothing burger, but I can understand why people are looking at it. Like I said, there's been a lot of other theories and a lot of other rumors and stuff flooding the flooding the areas, flooding the rumor mill right now about security and things being called off and all that stuff. And I don't know about all that, okay? But it's definitely starting to sail down that particular stream, okay, with all these conspiracy theories. But what are your thoughts? Again, what are your thoughts? Comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Hit that like button down below. Crush that subscribe button. We'll talk here very soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.
Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.